Had a little over 600,000 matriculants that had passed their exams, and about a little over 300,000 of them, you'd recall, that had obtained those bachelor passes. But if we look at the challenge at this particular point, what we understand is that a little over 200,000 spaces are only available at the 26 of the country's public universities. So the issue of space certainly does remain a challenge. In fact, here at WITS University, I was told by the team here they received about 86,000 applications only for 6,000 spaces that were available. So I want to bring in Jerome September, who is the Dean of Students here at WITS University. Mr. September, thank you so much for your time. 86,000 applications for 6,000 spaces. This is certainly a challenge that WITS University has had to deal with. How do you sift through so many talented young people in order to fill those 6,000 spaces?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Well, firstly, thank God it's not my decision, right? These are academic decisions based on the academic performances. It does often mean that when someone says, I have straight A's, it's the strength of the A. You end up having to look at, is it 85%, is it 90%, is it 95%? So it's huge competition to get in, and at the end of the day, it is the academic result that will do the final talking for the student.
Yeah. And then, you know, the recurring problem that we've had, I mean, last year we've had conversations about NSFAS. Yes. And, you know, the biggest issue I understand is that in terms of registration, a lot of them are not able to register because NSFAS has not paid last year's fees. Is that a challenge that you're also experiencing here at WITS University?
So it was a challenge, yes. But what we've done is to give concessions to that cohort. Okay. So what we've simply done is we looked at the 2024 status. Were they NSFAS funded? Are they likely to be NSFAS funded again this year? And we've then allowed them to proceed with registration. Our challenge is in the missing middle group. Yes. Those are the students that fall just outside of the NSFAS band. There we've got a number of support mechanisms and concessions in place. The first, of course, being you can postpone your first payment. The second one being if you owe less than 10,000 Rand, you are able to register. If you owe more than that, you pay 50% of what you owe, you are then able to register. If you're unable to come up with the 50%, we have a hardship fund that you can apply to for assistance in that regard. So we've got a number of support mechanisms and concessions in place to assist as many students as we possibly can. Yeah.
Have you had discussions with the WITS SRC to see how many students you're able to help? What are the challenges that you are experiencing, so that you're also able to establish where the university would be able to come in and assist to avoid what we've seen in the past?
So we've been in conversation with the SRC since around November, December. Many of these concessions are also as a result of their activism. What we do have is a good working relationship. They, of course, have a fundraising campaign, which we are supporting fully. And we hope that through our efforts and supporting their efforts, that we will be able to assist as many students as we possibly can.
As the SRC, we've been able to recognize that there's a limited space when it comes to first years. It's not only an issue that is being faced by first years, even returning students. So it's difficult even for returning students to come back and get enrolled within the institution because of different issues like your financial exclusion, your academic exclusion, and also a crisis of accommodation. So as the SRC, we've been recognizing those issues where students have an outstanding debt that they cannot be able to cover because they need to get enrolled within the institution. There's what we call hardship fund within the institution, which ensures that they pay the fees of the students who have an outstanding debt. But even hardship fund does not cover the entire amount. Someone gets a hardship fund or benefits from hardship fund but still has not been able to cover the 50% outstanding fees. So as the SRC, that is why we took the initiative to start the Kubuya Tuto SRC Legacy Fund, which is a bold initiative aims at raising 15 million. It's not only a fundraising campaign, but it is a call for actions to all people from the public, the private sector and corporate partners to come into the picture and donate as little as 100 Rand, which will be matched by the institution Rand for Rand, amounting to 30 million, to assist all of those students who are coming from disadvantaged economic backgrounds, including students who are funded by NSFAS.
This week we are having what is called the Gateway to Success program, where we actually It's unique. It's the first in the country, pioneered by the Dean of Students and the Office of the Academic Affairs. It largely is about getting young people fresh from high school oriented to university life, from basic things like how to go to the library, how to seek help if you're in trouble, with the various support structures we have, from disability rights units to counseling and support for first years, because we realize that the gap, social, academic and psychological gap between being in grade 12 to university is massive. So this first week really is about it's a pre-orientation, pre-university orientation. Then next week, of course, is about clubs and societies by and large.
Prof, 86,000 applications. You only have 6,000 spaces. It must be quite a mammoth task to try and sift through so many applications to ensure, that I guess the best of the best, those who've done well, are able to go in. Not that the rest have not done well. There just simply isn't any space.
Indeed. Obviously, if we just take more than we can afford, it will affect the quality of teaching, and therefore it's important that we, do the best we can to accommodate those that we can accommodate, based obviously on academic merit. And we are one of the most sought after universities, not only in this country and basically beyond. So what it talks about is a need for other alternative means of getting these young people into the post-secondary education system.
And Prof, there are still some challenges apart from space challenges. In speaking to some of those that are entering the space now and those that have been, we've had challenges with NSFAS. NSFAS not paying the students a debt. That becomes the university's program where you've got to check who is funded by NSFAS. Those are some of the complaints that we are hearing, especially pertaining to registration. How are those issues being dealt with at the university?
Obviously, the university has finite resources because we've got to pay faculty, staff, and everyone who make sure that the university runs. But those challenges notwithstanding, we have spared no effort at all in ensuring that a deserving, talented student will be cleared of their debt to pass. To this end, we have this year allowed 800 students who have in excess of 65%. We've cleared their debt, right, from our coffers. And we turn around 1.8 billion rand a year through various sources, including NSFAS, sponsorships and guardians, to support 26,000 students or so. Moreover, 160 million rand that comes from the university coffers has gone into supporting both undergraduate and postgraduates on merit scholarships. So that's the best we can do, given the limited resources of a declining, of a stagnant government grant, which I understand, because government has to support other things apart from tertiary education.
Prof. Zedwan Vilakazi, thank you very much indeed. We do appreciate your time, sir, the Vice Chancellor and Principal here at WITS University. Very hopeful, for this year, the assistance that the university has given to, in particular, disadvantaged students and those with some of the debt. As you heard, 800 students. The press release that was sent out, earlier this week, speaking about Christmas coming early for, those particular students, 800 of them having their debt being written off.